Howdy everybody, BygPhattyPlus, and welcome back to the Big Man Plays Riven. When last left off, we got arrested by the Melody people. And they locked us in this room because they weren't sure about us. But thankfully, one of the ladies was able to tell Catherine somehow, and she left us a note. Got us our trap book back. This is our trap book, by the way. Don't click on it unless you really want to screw up. But we also got her notes, her diary. Now, I couldn't read this before on account of I can't read cursive. But thankfully, I was able to actually locate a transcription of the diary. So this whole diary will be read in this episode. I'm sure people are like, I don't care. And I say, you know what? I'm going to anyway. Because these backstories are kind of... Some people like these, including me. And these backstories are kind of helpful to the story of this. Though they probably could have filled more writing on less pages if they wrote it from top to bottom. Why they wrote to the side, I don't know. Let me see if I can even get to the back. We will also be covering that letter too. So, let me read the book, please. Thank you. Like I said, I have a transcript. I linked to Riven a week ago. The smell of the place reawakened me moments before I could see something. With my sight only partially cleared, I stood motionless, peering ahead through a dim veil which was slowly lifting. There was a violent clang and bars appeared. I remember breathing slowly and very deeply, tasting familiar Riven air, but not recognizing a thing. I must have been hit with the dart right away. I thought it was an insect bite at first. I'm trying to remember it all, but it's different. Maybe because of the drug. There was a voice. A man I did not recognize stood before me. Rivenese, though he was wearing a dingy dress. He seemed to be talking to me, but the poison was already taking effect. A shadow crept in, and I fell asleep. Then there were many voices, but I understood none of them. Like hundreds of people whispering, I couldn't wake up. No matter, the dream did end. And now, to be here with Etty. It's been so many years. I didn't realize how much I missed her, like a piece of me that I had forgotten I'd lost. She's beautiful, and so full of warmth. But the years also left her with a wound, which was not there when we were children. I do wish she were more interested. It seems like I'm asking all the questions. It's awkward. No one asks me where I've been or what I've been doing. This hurts, but I understand it. Their beliefs are born out of ignorance and oppression. They are a gentle people, but they've had their nest destroyed, and now they frantically cling to anything that might save them. But why have they chosen to cling to me? I'm confused. As a child, I always felt out of peace here. I never belonged. They misunderstood me, and I couldn't relate to them. But now I'm overwhelmed by an intense feeling that I owe everything to them and this place. I thought I would never see them again, and yet I'm here. I've been given this second chance. But a second chance at what? Saving them? Fulfilling their prophecies? Being their savior? The Melody. Atreus would want me to chronicle all that I've learned. I can at least record some of it. Seems when Atreus and I trapped again on Riven many years ago, our efforts were witnessed by most of the inhabitants here. Two of the Rivenese even witnessed a confrontation with Gen at the fissure, where I linked back to Myst, and where Atreus threw himself into the abyss. Of course, they understood little of what they were seeing, but they somehow were able to guess that we had won. That Gen was no god at all. Only a feeble impostor, a false god, and that we had trapped him here on Riven. I always hoped they would deduce this simple truth, but their further conclusions have astonished me. Atreus stripped Gen of his power, therefore Atreus must be a true god. As a god, he was choosing me, the spiritual misfit from a Rivenese womb, to be his wife. I was transcending into deity, and would lord over Riven forever. Thus the Moiety, as they call themselves, were born a dissident society, sworn enemies of Gen. I did not know of their beliefs regarding Atreus and myself until 2 days ago. Effie was, for some reason, hesitant to tell me. I can't figure out why. I know she doesn't believe these things. Of course, everyone assumed that I'd be aware of my own god status, so they made no effort to inform me. I sat at the front of a dimly lit, crowded cave as they told a mythical story of my own life, acting out the battle between Atreus, myself, and Gen at the edge of the fissure. The events had been exaggerated into grandiose proportions. It was offensive, but I was unable to stop it. I was unable to break the illusion, which is the very foundation of their hope and purpose, and which has given them courage to band together and rebel against Gen. Since then, I've learned of other doctrines and beliefs that have evolved, most disturbing of which is the conviction that one day I would return to Riven to free them. Some believe that I will overthrow Gen. Others believe that I will bring them to paradise. I don't know how to deal with this. I fight. It is stricken. Myself. I love these people, my only real kindred. But they will not love me as an equal, which hurts me. I would rather be their slave than their master. Over the years, as Gen's power has become greater and greater, the Moiety's numbers have grown, and they have become a more and more adept at hiding themselves. Then I live in a complex network of caves that he has still not discovered. The Moiety, for the most part, have completely severed their relationships with any of the Rivenese that chose against joining them. But I hope they've not sacrificed vital links in order to remove the cancer. Even Father and Ennet are still on the surface in Gen's domains, and I long to see them. But a dimness shrouds Etty's face every time I've mentioned them. Since this break took place, they have interfered with the surface in superficial ways, occasionally sabotaging one of Gen's constructions, or stealing food from the villagers. They wear strings, masks, and costumes during their short forays into the island's surface, and take their regalia very seriously, refusing to be seen by anyone outside the Moiety unless they are properly attired. They get much pleasure out of this fact that those in the surface are frightened by these costumes, calling them evil spirits or ghosts. It was during one of these expeditions that they fortuitously rescued me from one of Gen's guards when I first appeared on the island. Otherwise, I'm sure I would have been delivered to Gen immediately. I've no doubt that he's now searching for me. Of course, I am now aware that I was fooled. Atreus is not here. I was at first devastated by this realization. Now I am thankful. He would be in extreme peril here. Also, there is a quiet inner voice, an echoing remnant, that wants him far away. I have just witnessed an H dying, gasping its last breath. Today I ventured to the surface to see what had become of the island. I hoped it would not be as bad as the Moiety report. It was worse. They had become slowly accustomed to a steady decay, but I was devastated. The lips from which the kiss is wrought, his fallen words which will fall cold breath, the womb from which the cry released has suffered hurt, will suffer death. To get to the surface, we had to travel through a complex series of doors and passages. Before the last of these doors, they offered me a weapon, which I accepted, and then a mask. I held the mask in my hands for a while, wondering what sort of terror it might invoke in the members of my family who still live on the surface. But I also knew I must keep my identity hidden from Gen's ever-vigilant eye. So I accepted it as well. Together, then we swam a short expanse and emerged out of the surface of the ocean under a rocky overhang. The harsh sunlight made my eyes sting, but the fresh, rich air was exhilarating after these past weeks in the dank cave. The two men with me were silent, communicating only with hand signals. The three of us emerged from our hiding place and made our way to the top of the plateau. At the edge of a thick and overgrown area of the forest, they stopped, peered through the foliage for a moment, and then turned to me, as if waiting my command. But I could not respond. In fact, I found it difficult to move. I was smelling, hearing, and breathing my youth. This swept over me in a matter of seconds, but in seconds more, all the feeling was gone. There was numbness. We did not stay long on the surface, but it was long enough to see the worst. Riven, which was once one island, has split apart into 5 distinct pieces, about half a mile apart. 4 of these islands have been claimed by Gen as his exclusive domain. Only his ministers and personal militia are ever allowed access to them. From my vantage point at the edge of the forest, I could see 3 of these islands. They are stripped of their former beauty, and are riddled with Gen's self-absorbed constructions. The Moadi rarely visit these closely guarded places. There is another island which I could not see, as it evidently crept away to a terrific distance. The Moadi are very unclear as to what exists on this island, except for the fact that they know it is where the great tree used to exist. The forest is located on the island that the surface dwellers and the Moadi still refer to as Riven, but they also still refer to the entire world as Riven. This island is where the village is, which has changed dramatically. It is also one of the only remaining presence of the people, though Gen's influence can be seen everywhere. Of course, I know the reason for the fracturing of islands. The Moadi do not. Gen wrote this place, and it will die, as all of Gen's ages eventually die. I feel nothing today. I am nothing. I live in a cave on a dying world inhabited by people that they are treating me so strangely. They don't know how to relate to a god. I'm still an outcast here. They whisper among themselves, talking of my bravery during my excursion to the surface, how I walked across the island, bold and unafraid. They don't know me. Even Etty is uncomfortable around me. At times there is no awkwardness, and I'm only Katrin to her. But at other times I am something else. I am afraid. There is such a giant numbness inside of me. Today I do not feel closeness with my people. Neither am I offended by their worship of me. I do not hate Gen. I don't feel anything. At least Nella is still close. I am boiling. Gen is making and writing books. I wish they had told me sooner. Atreus should have really realized this would happen, of course. Gen would have written all the materials necessary to the dinny craft of making books into this age, and probably every other age he wrote. He is attempting to write his way out of here. We did not imprison him, we only delayed him. His age has become his factory, and the people are his machines, all laboring in his mad pursuit to become a god, to carry on his noble dinny cause. So far, he has not been able to produce a fully functional book. Atreus has never believed in destiny, but I do not know what else to call it. It's too perfect, too much of a coincidence. They hang on my every word, though they do not understand them. I am their hope, and now I have returned. I owe this to them. There is no choice. It's been a long time since my last entry. It is hard to recognize, but I have found the Starfisher. It is located on the island which the Rivenese call Alapo, meaning water pool, but which is referred to by the Moadi as Alatwan, meaning pool of stars. Having once allowed Atreus to escape this age without leaving an open door behind us, it has since been sealed with a skim of heavy iron. A crude telescope has been mounted over the locked view point, the combination which was acquired by the Moadi before my arrival. In the early days, the Moadi, seeking escape from Riven, briefly pursued the idea of reopening the fissure. They discovered a small mechanism to stop, small mechanical stop, to prevent the people from hitting the portal window. Ultimately, however, they decided against opening it. I have heard in the days immediately following Gen's confinement on Riven, he attempted to determine the feasibility of navigating the stars beneath the fissure, for he has seen the Myst book fall from Etrus' hands into that very same space. To this end, he would have people alleged transgressions of the wall thrown into it so he could observe their fate. The telescope, which still stands there, is one he had built for the callous experiments. It said they did not die. What became of them remains a mystery. Pierce the limits against optics prevented him from learning their fate. The star field beneath the fissure is not as it seems. It is a gentle space, as hospitable to life as a flowing river. This is how Atreus explained it, after he'd fallen into it. But much more than we've never understood, and we're never able to conclude upon its origins. But the visions tell me that it was born out of the will of the Maker, perhaps of some greater purpose that we cannot yet understand. I still remember Atreus' words from his journal.
I realized the moment I fell into the fissure that the book would not be destroyed as I had planned. It continued falling into that starry expanse.
There must be some greater reason behind it. I neglected to mention it earlier. The unique shape of one of the great daggers which appeared during our escape from Riven, the very dagger that stands vertically at one end of the Atwan, has been adopted by the moiety as a symbol of their cause. It is a sacred symbol for them. It is a representation of all their doctrine and the representation of me. To deface the symbol is sacrilege. They have their own mythical explanation regarding its sudden origins. I have been told that I wrote it in this age, along with all the other daggers. It's strange how such a young religion can be so unbending, even to their own God. I have tried to dissuade them of the notion that symbols contain so much power. The enemy uses this paranoia against them. They are fearful of Gen's symbol, and are terrorized by his symbolic use of the wark. But they don't want to hear this from me. Perhaps my attempts have even caused some of the younger members of the moiety to doubt that I am Catherine. My rare encounters with those who say they follow Gen have been discouraging. I have hoped to have some communication with the surface villagers, but they always flee from me. But I have heard news of some of the villagers' beliefs regarding Gen. Soon after we trapped Gen on Riven, he claimed that he was responsible for the daggers, placing them around the island as a reminder of their failure. In the village circles, it was told that this was a punitive act performed by Gen to mark the beginning of a period of restitution, at the end of which, if they have proven their devotion to him, they will be delivered unto a new and better existence. I will continue to try and reach them. The door is open and Gen is free. Gen has the ability to create working books. In fact, he has written on age before I arrived, but has kept this accomplishment so well hidden that only his closest ministers were aware until now. I'm not sure. Perhaps he has written others. Other news. A few years ago, before the moiety were forced into hiding, one of them managed to steal what appeared to be a test book that Gen had intended to destroy. It had been partially written, but it did not work. They didn't tell me about it until now, because they thought it was useless. Back then, none of Gen's books worked, but instead of correcting the problem at its source, he blamed it on the impure wood of the Riven forest, and proceeded to engineer a cumbersome mechanical remedy, a complex series of domes, to heal his book's inert flaws. One of the consequences of this crude solution, however, was that the domes demanded huge amounts of energy, and the related problems delayed his success for quite some time. At last, however, he finished his work and was finally able to link in the age. But he kept his success extremely well hidden. However, for some reason or another, belligerent pride, he has made modifications to the domes which make it obvious that he's using the domes to breathe life into his half-dead books. Perhaps he means to lure us into using the books in the domes. He can't believe that we would blindly swallow this suicidal bait. But he wouldn't know that we had one of his books, the stolen, burned book. Have read burnt book. Age it describes would be unsuitable as a new home for the moiety. Must be modified. I will dream. Have requested a group to solve the combination that will open the domes. Once open, we can power the burned book. Do not think Gen will interfere. He will leave the bait. Have begun writing the moiety's age. Must now acquire a second book from Gen. There is tension. A strain blurs my vision. And nightmares. Nella and Etty stay close. Much has happened. Almost everything is prepared. We have stolen another book, but I'm concerned. Gen will miss it. We have also discovered the combinations for entering the domes, but we have not discovered the method for powering them. By powering our burn book with Gen's domes, we will be able to link to the sage, but we will only have access to the domes for a short time, before we are discovered. There we can only use the domes once. Let's find another way to make the books work. The gateway image in Gen's books and our burnt book all seem to share the same sickness. If they are not powered, the images are black. It might be possible to clear the vision with only... We'll write substance into the moiety age. All is ready. Now all we can do is wait for word from the Moiter-esque, who are on the lookout for Gen to power and use the domes. When he does that, we'll have access to one of Gen's domes just long enough. After linking to the age I've written, I only have to locate the book window's substance and refine or adapt it. Laying this window over the gateway image should heal the books and make them work. This will allow me to use the second stolen book and return to Riven with more of the book windows. We will then no longer have to rely on Gen's clumsy domes. I laugh at these plans. I sound like Atreus. I'm risking my life, but I feel no fear, only anxiety. Perhaps it's the source of my nightmares. The fissure, like a great wound, is opened. It stains the Riven soil with blood. I hold the moiety knife. The voices grow so loud. For their part, the moiety have complete faith that I will accomplish my task and lead them to a better world. It is a fulfillment of their prophecy, but they are also fearful and tense. I don't know what they will think or do if I fail. It is done! It seems too good to be true. I feel like it's all still a dream. We have already evacuated all of the moiety to this new age. It is beautiful, and I am pleased. At last, my people will live in safety and comfort. They stand under the bare sky, unafraid and dazzled by their freedom. They are happy. They have named it Tay. There's still much to be done. We are not protected yet. The only way to completely safeguard the place is to destroy the book which links to here from Riven. But I do not even know how to bring this up to the moiety. They will be extremely reluctant about destroying their only link to Riven. I share this hesitation. I will be cutting off my only connection. But for their sake it must be done. I am anxious to know if our activities have aroused Gen's suspicions. If so, we must act quickly. Even so, I feel that now we are impregnable. Tomorrow I will return to Riven to see Gen's reaction for myself. But tonight, I finally rest. Sorry for the slip up there. Yeah, I was trying to do it calm and everything, but yeah, I slipped up there. But that's some interesting information. So she came here by accident, it seems, and managed to fix things up. And now let's see if I can get to the notes there. Yeah, I hate the fact I'm trying to click, but as you can see, it does that. I'm not sure if it's my mouse. I don't think it's my mouse, because if it was my mouse, let's just say I wouldn't be able to play shooters properly. I think it's part of the game here. Yeah, I was trying to keep the pages timed along with the clicking, but as you can tell, yeah. Oh, crap. Let me write this down real quick, because that's important. That's, as we've come to learn, as a fact, I've lost my pen. There it is. That everything in this game, every single little symbol, is important. Let's see. We got this square, which I have no idea what that is. And this square, again, same thing. And then we have the KI, which I have learned is number 3. So let's I guess the security number. So it'll be KI, and then that middle line there is a 1. So something 311, which is very interesting. Now let's see if I can get back to that dang note so I can read that. Also, how you like my Catherine voice? It's the best I could do, considering trying to keep this thing in time with the clicks, as well as not having to worry about using the auto-tune, which I'm probably going to do anyway. Well. Yeah. Of course, that voice fake as heck. People go, what the heck is with that? Anyway, here's Catherine's notes. Let's see if I can read this. I write quickly from my prison. Nell will return your book, which Demody intercepted upon your arrival. After questioning her, I've concluded it was written by Atris for a very specific purpose. Gen will desire to use it, although he may have suspicions. If you can find my prison, you will still need the combination to release me. Gen keeps it in his office. Then I assume we're to signal Atris. I think I know how it might be done, but don't signal him before I'm released. Catherine. So yes, apparently the little lady there has she knows, she's able to get to Catherine and talk to her, which is interesting. And that actually took 26 minutes. Well, let's see if we can play on a little bit here. Let's go ahead. I'll probably end up doing that later, showing you the different endings. But anyway, let's go ahead and use our book here. And now we're back in Riven. Which we have work here to do, apparently. Could you open this, please? Thank you. Because we still have many other places to visit. Many other places to visit. Many other puzzles to figure out. And probably some people to talk to. Wonder if the people here will still talk to me. Probably not. But now that we've finally been able to properly read Catherine's notes, because thanks to somebody on GameFAQs who was able to actually properly translate that mess. Also, thank you. Let me go back down, please. How are we going to save Catherine? Where the frack is she? And just how the flip can we get to Gen's place? Find out next time on The Big Man Plays Riven. Till next episode, this is BygPhattyPlus. Sayonara. And maybe if I had a better female voice that was convincing, I wouldn't need to use the voice modulators.